r/askreddit, what movies come to mind when you think of great soundtracks? Love me some Soggy Bottom Boys. I highly recommend Down from the Mountain, the concert of the original artists playing the music from the film. Almost Famous. Just recently rewatched this, I forgot how amazing that film is and what a spectacular performance Kate Hudson gave us. Donnie Darko, the use of long shots with the soundtrack is just stellar. Scott Pilgrim is up there too. Donnie Darko uses Mad World so well, and when Frank is around, the ambient track called Manipulated Living, so good. Black Sheep sent me down a rabbit hole and I discovered such great music based off that one tune. The Crow. This is the one I immediately thought of. Yeah, a great soundtrack of alternative 90s bangers. Tron Legacy. Shrek. And a special mention to Shrek 2's I Need a Hero. Interstellar. Come on Tars. Hashtag don't let me leave Merv. Edit. Just wanted to read this. Cooper, this is no time for caution. Romeo plus Juliet. This soundtrack is scored on my emo teenage soul. Number 1 Crush by Garbage. Awesome. Cannot argue this, stellar soundtrack. Oh, that one has some memories attached that are painful. Regardless, the mix of Prince's When Doves Cry that was in the movie did not make it to the soundtrack. Criminal. He'll be waiting with a gun and a pack of sandwiches. How to Train Your Dragon. Yes. As a composer, it's a textbook example of a phenomenal film score. I'm surprised I had to scroll this far to find it, honestly. That John Powell really knows how to make a soundtrack. I freaking love it so much. Where No One Goes is my favorite song of all time. The first few bars of Romantic Flight in solo violin when they burst through the clouds into that suddenly pastel sunset. Yeah. That gets me every time. I scrolled really far and was disappointed to not see The Lord of the Rings. I collect good soundtrack music and that trilogy soundtrack is my favorite. A soundtrack and a score are two different things. You're thinking of a score, in which I agree. Lord of the Rings is excellent. Queen of the Damned. Movie is awful, soundtrack is fantastic. Edit. To add, the movie has some good scenes, but it ends up being 10 minutes of great scenes interspersed with 90 minutes of gibberish, that looks like it was filmed by a low-budget music video, which again could be the style intended, but it comes off badly. Daft Punk carried half of the movie. The rest was carried by the effects team and some of the actors. I'm one of few people alive who doesn't think the movie is terrible, it's great corny vampire fun. Soundtrack is incredible. John Davis redoing all the songs is also spectacular. Dazed and Confused. Pulp Fiction. From Dusk Till Dawn. Repo Man. Singles. Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. The Saint. Conan the Barbarian. Get Shorty. Saturday Night Fever. Edit, adding Purple Rain. The Purple Rain and Repo Man soundtracks changed my musical tastes. The Lion King. The musical numbers are great, but Hans Zimmer's work on the Ost is amazing. While we're on the Disney train, the soundtrack for Hercules absolutely slapped. Using upbeat gospel music and singers was absolutely genius and served the feel and plot of the movie perfectly. Also, The Hunchback of Notre Dame simply needs no introduction or justification. Agree. Also Aladdin too. Agreed. I also loved He Lives in You and Deception from the second movie. To Die For is one of the greatest pieces of music in anything emo. Jurassic Park and Star Wars. Pretty much anything by John Williams emo. Honorable mention to Danny Elfman too. Really blurs the line of soundtrack and score. But it's fucking incredible. Darth Maul's final battle in Phantom Menace. Tarzan. Phil Collins outdid himself. I read a tweet once that had me in stitches. Phil Collins created that Tarzan soundtrack with the passion of someone whose parents were personally killed by a leopard. Crazy he did all the songs in French too for their Ost. Pirates of the Caribbean. That, my friend, is what I was looking for. What a madlet, I love its Ost. The song He's a Pirate is one of my favorite in all soundtracks. Last of the Mohicans. The soundtrack of Last of the Mohicans is a masterpiece that perfectly captures the epic and emotional tone of the film. Yes. The soundtrack is incredible. I learned how to play this on the piano a few years ago, by ear, because I didn't want to pay for the sheet music, lol. Here, link is a video of it. Wish more people knew about it. Listen to it when I want to feel otherworldly. Drive. Real Human Being. Scrolled far too long to find this. Empire Records. What's with today? Sugar hot? It's Rex Manning Day. Oh, Rexy, you're so sexy. Damn the man, save the empire. I don't need to explain my art to you, Warren. Fight Club. The Crow. The Matrix. Lost Boys. Trainspotting. Oh brother, where art thou? Trainspotting soundtrack is iconic. Danny Boyle is a fucking genius and really knew what he was doing with that film. It's a real work of art. And the Fight Club score is something else. Two belters of films right there. Baby Driver. Wonderful soundtrack. Scrolled too far to find this one. Garden State. First soundtrack I fell in love with. Dazed and Confused. I cannot hear Sweet Emotion without picturing a GTO circling a parking lot. Alright. I think of Matthew McConaughey character picking up a girl with a red afro and taking her to an Aerosmith concert. Removed. One evening as the sun went down, and the jungle fires were burning. The Blues Brothers. Forrest Gump. Pulp Fiction. Tanya. Forrest Gump. It has the most iconic songs capturing major American vibes from multiple decades. And they're all so good. Tanya is great. The Blues Brothers. Nightmare Before the Christmas. There are few can who deny, at what I do I am the best. For my talents are renowned far and wide. Back to the Future. Guardians of the Galaxy. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Listening to Oh Death Outside the movie is pretty wild. Very dark song. I've listened to that movie more times than I have seen it. Big Lebowski. Spirited Away. The Graduate. The Breakfast Club. Trainspotting.